Alright, Shalom, like say, call Lord Wahawala, which is all praise and glory, and he was how about Shem, Yahshai, about Shem, Karkadash, the monster, Apostle, Elder Green, Milson, bless God, elect, few sisters, and his wife forms, is working on the truth. My name is Kamafia from GMS Cleveland Branch. Got another lesson for you. Alright, I'm gonna play the video clip and then hit the scripture at the end. Okay, the video clip is gonna basically do all the explaining for me, and like I said, we're gonna lock it in or marry it with the scriptures, okay? But here we go.
Emmanuel. You know Emmanuel Macron? I love the French accent. Emmanuel.
Everybody think in France, in the European Union, that Greenland is not to be sold, not to be taken. The situation in Greenland is clearly a wake-up call for all the Europeans. And let me tell you very directly that you are not alone.
Yeah, it appears that the French Prime Minister finally said the quiet part out loud. America under Donald Trump isn't leading the alliance anymore. It's turning away from it.
We need to step up in Europe. We need a stronger and more resolute Europe standing increasingly in its own right, capable of defending and promoting Europe and the European interest.
Nu står vi med en geopolitisk krise, og hvis vi skal vælge mellem USA og Danmark her og nu, så vælger vi Danmark. Vi vælger NATO. Vi vælger kongeriget Danmark. Vi vælger EU.
This week, Emmanuel Macron delivered an unusually blunt message about US behavior under Trump, warning that America is, quote, breaking free from international rules and gradually turning away from some of its allies. The president of France, one of America's oldest allies, stood at a podium and said, we are watching the United States drift out of the alliance system in real time.
And when a strategic message is sent to you, I want just for you to know that it's clearly perceived by the Europeans as targeting a European land. And this flag you have here is our common flag. And we know our common values. And we know our long-standing choices. And this is why it's very important for French people and all the European people to convey very clearly this message of solidarity and the fact that we stand with you, now, for today, and for tomorrow.
Turn any text into speech instantly using AI and 11 Labs.
If any military member, including the generals on down to enlisted members, if any of them participate in the use of military force against Greenland without congressional authorization, they are following illegal orders. That's simply a fact.
And the backdrop for the criticism is obvious. Trump's ever-escalating rhetoric and pressure campaign to try and annex Greenland, a territory that is tied to Denmark, a NATO ally. And despite the fact that our allies are warning against it, and even fellow Republicans who usually get in line with Trump are coming out to say, we have enough problems here at home, why are you so focused on another territory? Trump refuses to acknowledge any of this and continues his aggressive rhetoric.
Point, we had 17 military installations in Greenland, and they'd be happy to have us back. They're not refusing to have us have access to project power into the Arctic. We can do it without taking over a NATO country. That's the sort of advice that they should have given. So if the president thought it was a good idea, then he needs the expertise to say, Mr. President, that's why this is not a good idea. And I would defy you to find any credible general with a star on his shoulder who would say that it is, because they understand that the NATO alliances is what has kept this nation largely, or this world, largely safe for over 75 years.
Look, the reason why I thought it was important for me to make a comment on the floor is I've been the Republican leader of the Senate NATO Observer Group since 2018. There is no more important alliance than the NATO alliance. And Denmark has punched above its weight. It came to Afghanistan, lost 43 soldiers on the ground, fought in some of the most contested regions, honoring their Article 5 commitment to the United States.
I think they lost more soldiers than any other country per capita.
Per capita, they did. Yeah. And Jake, they were in among the NATO allies at the time. It was 30 nations. They were among the top 6. And think about all the nations bigger than them. So to have the prime minister suggest that they have to be prepared for some sort of action by the United States suggests to me that Mr. Miller does not know anything about the alliance, the importance of it. And, generals, I was on Senate Armed Services for 8 years, and generals would always say the same thing. The only thing worse than going to war with allies is going to war without allies.
Greenland and Denmark have repeatedly said Greenland is not for sale. European officials have even warned that entertaining coercive acquisition rhetoric destabilizes NATO unity because, rightfully so, it shows that the US treats allies as a target.
Grönland ist genauso wie die Färöer Bestandteil des dänischen Königreiches und da Dänemark der NATO angehört, wird auch Grönland prinzipiell von der NATO zu verteidigen sein. Und wenn es dort weitere Erfordernisse gibt, die Verteidigungsanstrengungen bezüglich Grönlands zu verstärken, dann werden wir das im Rahmen der Allianz miteinander zu besprechen haben.
And Greenland's own officials have made it clear that the rhetoric isn't just offensive, it's frightening their people. And away from the diplomatic nightmare that is Donald Trump, right? Just look at how it's being received from the people in Greenland. They are terrified of the very idea that Donald Trump would be a leader to them. And yet somehow this country decided that this man was fit for office twice.
Talk about him because he spoiled my sleep, or they do. Yeah, I don't sleep very well because I'm afraid. They have no respect for us, for my country, and for our country. So,
What I think is he wants to make Greenlandic minerals to pay off the national debts of United States. That's what I think.
Do you think people are really scared in Greenland?
Yeah, I've seen quite a few who were concerned.
I dreamt about him last night. Nightmare. That he was coming with the ship. It was awful, that dream. So, I'm scared.
What the reasons behind it, we don't get it, really. It's so peaceful and calm here, and he says that Denmark is not protecting Greenland from what, and there's been a collaboration with the USA for many years. So it's not all of a sudden, but it's really aggressive now, and it's getting kind of annoying.
So when Macron warns that the US is turning away from its allies, it's a direct reaction to a US president acting like NATO borders are flexible depending on his mood. And Macron is far from alone on this matter. German officials have came out recently and vowed to support Greenland whatever means necessary, and that NATO unity depends on allies acting together, not unilaterally.
Le Groenland, c'est la ligne rouge. Donc je considère que si ils envahissent le Groenland, s'il se passe quelque chose au Groenland, ils ne sont même plus des adversaires systémiques, ils deviennent des ennemis. Parce que quand on s'attaque territorialement à un pays, à quoi servent les armées si on s'en sert pas? Je veux dire, si on laisse faire ça, il vaut mieux les 50 ou 55 milliards qu'on veut consacrer à la défense en France, il vaut mieux faire autre chose avec, le donner dans le social, si on n'est pas capable de défendre le territoire.
And that matters, right? Because when France and Germany, the twin engines of the modern European project, are openly warning about US behavior, this then becomes Europe preparing for a world in which they treat America no different than they would treat the likes of Russia or China. And this kind of makes sense, right? Considering Donald Trump has made it no secret his admiration of the leaders of those countries. And as I will continue to point out whenever this subject is brought up, can you imagine if this was Barack Obama doing this, or Joe Biden talking about invading a sovereign territory just weeks after literally invading a sovereign territory and capturing their leader? I tell you right now, the Donald Trump of 2014, 2015 would have many grammatically flawed tweets to send out about this.
I'm not going to start. I'm going to stop wars.
No more wars, no more disruptions. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. Under Trump, we will have no more wars, no more disruptions, and we will have prosperity and peace for all.
I am the candidate of peace. I am peace.
Despite the president's promises to not start new wars nor pursue regime change operations abroad, Mr. President, today there are 15,000 brave U.S. troops and an American armada off Venezuela's coast, all without congressional authorization. And the president is threatening more attacks on more countries, including every time you turn the TV on, it's another country: Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, and Greenland, part of Denmark, a NATO ally. Congress has not authorized any of these dangerous potential operations, which risk destroying alliances and relationships that have long kept the American people safe. The Trump administration, however, continues to trample on our Constitution with unauthorized military actions while threatening others, weakening U.S. democracy and making the world more dangerous in the process.
And Macron, he didn't just criticize Donald Trump's tone on this matter, which he has done in the past. He warned that the US is breaking away from the rules-based order and turning away from those that have stood by its side for years. I mean, Denmark was, I believe, one of the countries that lost the most soldiers per capita when they went into Afghanistan with the United States to back them up. But I guess none of that matters when you have an egomaniac in charge.
New Midas merch. Head to store.midastouch.com today and get yourself the best for democracy gear and show your support.
Yeah, that was it. All right.
Capable of defending.
Macron.
Yeah, that was it. So the King of Babylon, okay, is definitely driving this place, to a Third World War, man. All right, we can see how things are, coming together. All right, and how the prophecies are, they're coming to pass, man, right before our very eyes. Okay. All right, well, we have a picture-perfect, view, clear view of how this thing's going to set off. All right, and like I said, the scriptures talk about, man. The scriptures talk about the Third World War. All right, and there's nothing that Esau can do to stop it, man. Okay, the scriptures tell you that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. All right, and this place, man, is the time has come. The scripture talking about Habakkuk. Though it tarry, wait for it. It shall surely come and not tarry. Well, it's not tarrying any longer. Like the last of prophecies are, we're living in them. All right, and like I said, we're about to reach the full climax of this movie. All right, and then the final boss battle between the hero and the villain happens, and then what else? Then what happens after that? All right, the hero wins, and then the happily ever after. All right, so yeah, man, that's what's taking place right now, and the Lord gave us the eyesight to see, the things that the scriptures are they're written in scriptures. All right, all of the end time events that were going to occur. All right, the Lord gave us understanding. All right, which are the prophets to know what's happening. All right, and as the world goes on, okay, the people in the world go on their day-to-day lives. All right, when this grand finale of all this, all this turmoil happens, they're gonna be stuck on stupid, all right, and they're gonna be scratching their heads trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Okay, and that's when they're going to be deceived and frustrated and just completely just discombobulated, all right, in their heads of how all this happened. When the whole time the prophets of the Lord been out there telling our people in particular, but telling the world, but telling our people that through the scriptures that all these things were going to take place, all right, in our lifetime, because we are in the end times, all right. And what our people fan in hand and they want to listen. So what's going to happen? They're going to be part of the wrath of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And when the Lord sent His Son back here, Yahushua, the Messiah, He's not coming back to deliver them, all right? Seeing that they will, ultimately it just boils down to being chosen from the get-go, from the very beginning, all right? And, that's why, brothers, we have faith and we have hope, because we don't even know if we're part of that club, but we're what's it called? Scripture go? We were called. We were called to this thing, so we just hope we're chosen. So we're giving our diligence to make our call and election sure. So yeah, man. All right. Yeah, the Lord's making His word to be known, all right, in these last days, and He's making it to be true, all right. But yeah, so you see, like I said, the whole summary of that video, all of America's allies are coming against them now, and Babylon the Great is only for the interest of the small hat, okay, which is the Amalekites, the Edomites of Edom, okay. The bastards run the world, and now it's it's pretty evident the world's caught on to it. It was never about America first. It was about the Amalekites, the small hats first. All right, and this is going to lead to their demise. All right, this is going to lead to this place calamity. All right. Let me get the scriptures. So Obadiah 1:6 says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? It's through the prophets of the Lord and whistleblowers. All right. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding. Right. So all the European nations, okay, all America's allies of NATO and EU, they turn their backs on this place because America has done that first. Okay, America has spit in the faces of all these NATO and European nations and all America's allies. All right, America has gave them the cold shoulder. All right, and they didn't value their friendship. So now, what's happening is there's a breaking off. There's no more friendship with them. There's no more alliances. Okay, this place is the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The Lord's got DJ Trump, in a corner. Okay, and this place hasn't it has no more leverage in the game, for as even with the even with the intimidation tactics, as far as being the bully on the block, that's over with, man. All these other nations possess nuclear capabilities, and they can't be they can't be witch-called, man. They can't be dominated in that manner, because now, like I said, those other nations have came together and made pacts with each other for defense, for one another, man. All right, so yeah, man. These are the nations with the Greenland situation. Trump talking about he's gonna take Greenland. And the other nations are backing Greenland up. They're backing Greenland, or Denmark up, should I say? All right, and that's part of the 10 toes. I'm gonna go into it. I'm going into it, man. But anyway, yes, all the people that were at the Confederacy, they're at peace with all America's allies. All right, they're no longer cool with them no more. They're no longer befriending them anymore. Okay, they're going to war against the same nations or countries that they were, once in allegiance with. All right. It said they that eat that bread, yeah. So you giving these other nations money to build their infrastructure, okay, through the IMF. They that was the only reason why they befriended you, man. That was the only reason why y'all was cool, because of the money. But you deceived the nations, all right, and they ain't feeling it. So I'm gonna go on to the last scriptures, Daniel 7 and 7 and 8. Let's see. Let's start at no, what was it? Yeah, 7 and 19 says, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast. The fourth beast, all right, is the Roman Empire, okay, on which for the Roman Empire came back. It came in the reincarnation, rebirth as America, all right. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which, because you look at how the America is set up. It follows the whole ways of Rome, all right, all the customs and the way the laws, certain laws and stuff like that. Okay, it all goes back to Rome, the Roman system. So this place has adopted the Roman system, America. Okay, that's why it's in the scriptures, Revelation 17, chapter 6, whose deadly wound was healed. Okay, of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were iron, and his nails brass, which devour and break in pieces and stamp the residue of his feet. Right, and you read about Rome. I mean, you can read about Rome in First Maccabees 8 chapter. It talks about how valid and mighty the Romans were. All right, and it was valid and strong through the they conquered certain nations and they took on they stole certain they made them allies. The Romans was someone who they conquered. They made them allies and made them tributaries. All right, you used to read about in the 8th chapter, First Maccabees 8 chapter. All right, that's how they became so strong too. All right. Let me see. The seed driver whose teeth were iron and his nails brass and devour and break pieces instead of the rest of his feet. Yeah, so this is going to, like I said, how mighty the Romans were. Okay, the Romans were they was kicking ass, man. All right, everybody came against them. They put them to flight, man. All right, they defeated them. Okay, because of the prophecy's sake. All right. And this is iron, so they was the strongest. They was the strongest, one of the strongest empire when they came up. All right. And then when you look at America, it's the same way. America is a superpower, all right, and America has a grip on the whole world, just about. Okay. Ain't too many nations can go toe to toe with this place, except Russia. Okay. Except Russia. Russia is the equalizer. Anyways, verse 20 says, "And the 10 horns that were in his head," right? So the 10 horns, all right, they're going into the vassal states of Rome. All right. Okay, let me go to this real quick. I typed in Google, said, "What are the 10 vassal states of Rome?" The 10 vassal states of Rome refers to the Germanic kingdoms that emerged from the Western Roman Empire territories often cited in history, including the Franks, the Visigoths, Anglo-Saxons, the Lombards, the Sueves, the Bulgarians, Vandals, Ostrogoths, the Heruli, the Alemanni. It goes into who they are, from their ancient names. Okay, and even AI knows that this is a fulfillment of Daniel 7 chapter. It says this list is offering interpretation of biblical prophecies. Daniel's 10 horns identify these groups as taking over Rome's land. See that? It says the origin of 10 horns idea. This concept stems from the Bible of Daniel 7, where a great beast with 10 horns symbolized empires, with later Christian interpretations linking these horns to these Germanic kingdoms that rose across the Roman Empire, which they probably got this breakdown from the apostles. And that was agreement on, because AI, it does nothing but takes information from different sources, all right, throughout the World Wide Web, all right. Now to this. I said, what are vassal states? A vassal state is a country with limited independence, formally acknowledging a more powerful state overlord as its superior, often trading full sovereignty in foreign affairs for protection, military support, and economic benefits. And that's how America rules over these them European countries, man. Okay, that's how they rule over the EU. That's why you think the EU, before it was called EU, it was called EEC, and how they came together, how the EU came together was through the Treaty of Rome. Let me type that in. Here it is. The European Union, formed from post-World War II efforts to ensure peace through economic cooperations, starting with the 1951 European Coal and Steel Company, 6 nations involvement through the European Economic Community. All right, via the 1957 Treaty of Rome, formally becoming the EU, with the 1993 Maastricht Treaty, which established a single currency, euro, and deeper political interrogations. Yeah, so that's how it came. Why is it called the Treaty of Rome? Because they was going to be under the ways of the Roman Empire. That's why they all got presidents and shit, man. French got presidents, Germany got president. Okay, Switzerland, all those, man. They fall under Roman systems. They got all malls and shit like that. They got the mail system came from, I forgot what it was called, but the mail system came from your Roman Empire. They got roads, just every ways America is is upon these other nations. Okay, you know, especially through the political system, how they said it, instead of kings, they have, that's the main one. That's the main one, how they follow the Roman system in America. All right, America, which follows the Roman system. All right, and they all adopt the democracy way, which is equal rights for men and women, the alphabet community. Okay, you know, the whole concept of freedom, having freedom. That's why everybody wants to come to this place, because you can do what the fuck you want. There's no, you can worship whatever you want, you can do whatever you want. So let me see. Oh yeah, I typed this in too. I said, does America have control over EU? Is the United States does not have direct control over the European Union as they separate sovereignty entities. However, the U.S. exerts significant influence through a strong interdependent partnership, deep economic ties, shared security interests as via NATO, and strategic partnership. While they are major allies, they often disagree on trade, data, politics, and international relations. Yeah, so yeah, what proves that the U.S. has a significant control over those European nations, even NATO members, is that they can sanction them. Okay, they sanction them, and guess what? Nobody's sanctioned the U.S. Nobody's sanctioned the U.S., man. Okay, weaker. That's why it says they get their strength 1 hour with the beast. Okay, but the 1 hour with the beast, they get their strength 1 hour with the beast, meaning they joined the New World Order, man. All right, they're under that dominance. All right. So yeah, so now I got that out of the way. Let me read that scripture. So we can. I just wanted to highlight it. Daniel 7:20 says the 10 horns that were in his head. Okay, the beast, Esau's his whole military and political, his whole empire, man, a conglomerate of Edomite empires and countries and stuff, man. Okay, that's the beast, and the beast derived from the Roman Empire. That's why it's called the dragon. The Romans were cruel. Just look at it to read the history about how they treat our people. All right, in other nations. And the 10 horns that were in their head, like I said, starting with the vassal states of Rome. But now you bring it up to date. America's Rome all over. Okay. And then the 10 horns is the EU nations. Okay. We just read what a vassal state is, man. It's a weaker country that has an overlord. All right. Because they're inferior military and economically, they're inferior. All right. Before whom 3 fell. Okay, so this is going to I didn't say it, my fault. It said the 10 horns that were in his head of the other which is America, the other horn which came out of the beast, which is America, right? And horn just means powers, right? And before whom, but then Daniel saw it as a beast, so whatever. Before whom 3 fell, the 3 that fell was Spain, France, and Great Britain. And through those 3 empires being defeated, America came about. And even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more styled than fellows. So yeah, so that's talking about America. You see through that video clip I showed you, America thinks they better than their European counterparts, and Trump is talking all that shit. All right, the fact that he's still talking about he's going to go in and take Greenland from Denmark, which is a NATO member, okay, and an EU member. All right, that's pride, man. Okay, that's being boastful. Okay, that man, that's being more stout than your fellows, man. Having I'm better than you mentality. Okay. So we see these prophecies happening, man. The prophecies, the Lord he's working his hand, man. All right. He's not dragging his feet, so to speak, anymore. All right. The Lord's making his prophecies happen. All right. And the fact that we're brothers here to live and understand and tell about it, man, this is a great blessing, man. If you got the truth in these last days, man, that's the greatest thing you can have, man. Cause you could be in darkness like the rest of these dummies out in the world. They don't have a clue to what's truly happening and what's going to be end all be all throughout all this chaos that's about to occur. All right, and a lot of it's already happening, but it's really gonna get bad. All right, when the stores close and the troops, which Trump got troops throughout all America, throughout different, he basically want them all 50 states because he's gonna try to quell the mayhem. All right, when the economy finally crashes. So yeah, man. So like I said, man, this is beautiful. This is great. All right, call on Yahweh Shem Shah, having our eyes open, and like I said, the last of the last prophecies are here. So we just gotta keep watching. Keep watching. Stay prayed up that we able to escape all these things. So with that, we give all praise and glory to Yahweh Shem Shah. That one's possible. It was great. This one blessed. Like, peace is like from Shalom.